Urban Kickster here, back with another video, and today we will be taking a look at the G403 Prodigy Wireless Gaming Mouse from Logitech. This mouse comes in at an MSRP of $100 and has a 3366 sensor, which is currently the best sensor you can get according to most people who have tried this sensor. And it is larger than most mice, which probably contributes to its weight of 107 grams. This mouse is very comfortable for me and has an almost perfect shape, in my opinion. There are two side buttons on the left side of the mouse. These buttons are larger than most side buttons on mice, which I found to be useful because I wouldn't have to be super precise on where I put my thumb if I wanted to activate one of these buttons. One of the only problems I had was with the right mouse button. I had a few accidental clicks while I was browsing through the web, but none of these clicks on accident were during games, so you shouldn't really be too worried about that. Just know that it hasn't happened to me in game. And yeah, but it could give you an advantage in game because it doesn't require much force to press the left and right buttons, which could make you more responsive when you try to shoot a gun or something. And as you can see in the gameplay here, I am pretty accurate with this sensor and this mouse. And I think that's mostly because the sensor is really good and really accurate, and there's nothing wrong with the sensor. It's very highly rated. But one thing that you might see as a downside is that it isn't ambidextrous. So if you're a left-handed user or you like ambidextrous mice, you might not like it, but personally I really like the way it's shaped because it fits my hand better when it's made for right-handed users only, because it just feels more like it's made for me and not as a general use mouse. And the sides of the mouse do have a rubberized grip, which I found to be extremely comfortable, and no matter how sweaty my hands are, I still have plenty of grip to control the mouse and do whatever needs to be done. The mouse does have programmable DPI settings with a button behind the scroll wheel, so if you like different DPI settings for different games or scenarios, then you should be fine with all the customization options. You can add up to, I believe, 6 or more different DPI settings. And along with the DPI, it also has programmable RGB lights on the scroll wheel and logo of the mouse, which I do wish there were more lighting effects because there's only a few and they aren't even that customizable, and especially for how much this mouse costs, there should be a lot more options for the lights. The scroll wheel isn't extremely steppy or tactile. I found it to be tactile enough that unless you are in a really intense situation and gripping the mouse really hard, you probably won't have any issues switching between weapons. But I do see why someone would have trouble with the scroll wheel and why they wouldn't like it. This version of the G403 is wireless, and while you might think there might be some kind of input lag making it inferior to wired mice, this mouse was a lot more responsive than the previous mouse I was using, which was using a wired connection. And this mouse has been tested by professionals around the gaming community, and nobody has claimed that there's been any input lag to my knowledge, and I don't think there's been any issues with responsiveness, so I wouldn't really worry too much about that. But if you are worried about that, it does come in a wired version if you want that, and there are some advantages to having the wireless mouse, and that's that you won't ever get stuck by the mouse cable because there is no mouse cable, so you'll never have any kind of interference between you and your target. And if you don't want the wireless features, again, you can just get the wired option. It is a little bit cheaper, so you could get that one too. And it is a little bit lighter if you're worried about it being over 100 grams, because 100 grams is usually the recommended weight a mouse should be, and this one is 107. So if you want a little bit less of a weight, then you can get the wired option. I recommend this mouse to anybody that wants the best sensor on the market and has larger than average hands. If you have small hands, I would probably want to stay away from this mouse because it is a little larger than most mice, but it isn't by much. You probably get away with it, but I would go on the safe side and find a smaller mouse. Also, if you don't want to spend $80 on a mouse, then you could either get the wired version of the G403, which is a little bit cheaper. I believe it's around 60 or 70. And there's also many other great mice that you can get. They're much cheaper and have similar qualities. Just don't get any other wireless mouse other that isn't created by Logitech, because Logitech is the only people currently that have this kind of no lag wireless technology. So if you find a wireless Razer mouse, I would stay away from it because I've heard that there's a lot of lag issues with those ones. And yeah, so stick with Logitech if you want wireless. But if you liked this video, then hit that like button, because you need to hit that like button, and subscribe to my channel, because this is Urban Kickster signing off.